Hello and welcome back
to the In Your Mind podcast. Let's go.
We did it. Unprompted as well. Didn't even talk about it before. It just happened. Must be in sync.
We're just on the same wavelength and that.
And that.
And that.
And that. We've just been on a run. Sweaty, but feeling alive.
Oh.
Yeah. Feeling like the world is good. It's funny what moving your body really hard can do to your mind. Gives you hope.
Moving your body really hard.
Yeah. Just working it hard. You know? If you shake really hard, your brain just seems to free up. And I do like relaxing. I like sports and activities that are also like calming and that don't get me fired up.
What sports get you fired up?
Running. It just is like, because it's such a battle that like it just feels like you battle with your mind and that you eventually give in and you're like, okay, we're just doing this. And then it becomes like a slow release of like bliss and like contentment.
Contentment. What does that mean?
Content. If you're content.
Isn't that just content?
Contentment.
I think contentment is like the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't think so. But
Like
I actually have no idea.
contentment.
Oh. I thought if you're content, then you're just like chilling.
Yeah, content is.
Contentment.
I don't think contentment is a word. I think it's contemptment, and that means something different.
Well, made a new word up.
Never mind, I'm completely wrong. Scratch that.
I was right? Yeah. I know what I'm talking about.
But contemptment, I think, is
Contentment is what I meant.
contempt.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, the act of despising. So it's the opposite. Anyway, I'm sure our listeners are glad that we went through
clarified
that.
those meanings.
Yeah.
Yeah. But running makes me feel, yeah, it's like a struggle. And then you get past the struggle and you find presence and peace and then a bit of bliss and then just like contentment again. It's good.
Very nice.
Like surfing is a very different process for me. It's just like, like instant relief when I'm out. Like, unless it's massive and then I'm like very scared. And then I'm like, get adrenaline spikes and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, it's a different thing. But sometimes if you like conquer the adrenaline and like you go down like a wave and you're like charging and you're like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't know. I feel like, yes, I did it, but I also feel like that was very, very scary. But my favourite surfs is just when like there's no adrenaline or there's very little adrenaline. Like it's like, oh, that was a bit of a steep takeoff and now it's good and now I'm enjoying it. And that's my favourite type. That's a form of exercise that I like doesn't feel like exercise. Just feels like relaxation, flow, unless it's big again and adrenaline and scary. Do you have an exercise that's like those two juxtaposed like that, contrasted?
Like surfing.
Like, do you have something that you find really hard but like rewarding and peaceful and then something that you just don't find hard and enjoy?
I don't know. It's all pretty hard. Yeah.
Skiing?
It's just more hard for my brain. I don't even know if I'd really consider it hard exercise.
Not at the level you're going.
Yeah. Yeah, no, skiing's easy.
It's so like funny how like methodical you like took to skiing. Like you're like, well, if I place my foot here, then it should work. And then like you could just see it in your technique and your stance when you're coming down the mountain. You're just like, okay, well if I get my body over my knees, then I'm onto something.
I'm just trying to listen to what you're telling me.
I know, and it's good, but you just do it like just so like there's just no style basically. But that's not gonna happen.
Well, it's
in
because
like 2 days.
you tell me to do something, I'm like, okay, if I don't do this, then I'm gonna crash. So I have to like
really do it.
try and make sure I'm doing it.
Yeah. But it was cool, like how like you came to it very like technically, I think, because at the start you're like, oh no, just like let me go down this mountain, and then after you realize like on like the little hill how hard it was, you're like, okay, actually yeah, do tell me what I should do.
I just didn't realize how slippery it was.
Yeah, the snow.
Yeah, I thought there would be more like grab. Like I feel like I thought I could feel the edges way more than I could. Like I imagined it to be. Yeah.
You're nearly finishing phase 1. How does it feel? 4 days left?
I'm at my end.
Body or mind?
I don't know. I'm just sick of staying up till 3 a.m. in the morning getting everything done.
Yeah.
But I know as soon as it's finished, I'm like, I don't know how to describe it. You just don't feel as good, even though you don't. Like, I feel good now, but I don't know, you're always looking for what you don't have.
Yeah.
Like, when you're on program, you're thinking about when you're off, and then when you're off, you're thinking, I should be on.
Yeah. It's got to be.
It's tough, though. It's tough. I mean, this time round, I'm really living it more than I think I have, like, last year.
What do you mean?
I think I've become more of the person who does these things rather than I'm doing the program. It's more become more of who I am.
Part of your life.
Yeah.
More routine.
But I also realize, like, I operate pretty well when I'm on the program. And when I'm not on it officially, like, it's a weird mind thing, but when I'm not on it officially, I know eventually I just degrade to the point where I think back, I'm like, I don't even know how
I got there.
I did that.
Yeah.
And if I can do it again. And then you have to get back on the horse. And it's just that weird cycle.
Yeah. Gemma and I were kind of talking about that, but within like meditation today, because we're talking about how like we've had breaks and then coming back to doing it like every day, the difference, but then also how necessary a break is, almost to see how necessary the daily meditation is. Like, it's a weird thing of like, you kind of don't know how impactful it is until you stop.
Yeah. But it's so much work.
But it's great to have that perspective of like, whoa, okay, this is nothing, or this is like not doing it, versus this is doing it. Like, having that perspective can be helpful.
Yeah.
And needed.
The more cycles you go through, the better you can kind of recognize. And because I forget, like, I have weird memory like that. Like, I forget what I was like before. Like, if I'm on the program, I forget what it was like when I was off the program. When I'm off, I forget what I was like when I was on it. But now I've gone off and on enough times that I'm kind of learning more about myself in that way. It's interesting.
But also, you're interesting with memory when you say, like, I can't remember something. I think for you, it's generally like, you're very like specific about things, and like an overall like mood or impressions or like just the gist of something isn't really enough, it seems. Like, you can't get a good grasp on what you were actually like, so therefore you don't remember it. But really, you'll never have like nobody has a great grasp on past experiences. Even if it was like 3 hours ago, you're still going to forget parts. Like, you're not going to take everything that was in your awareness then.
Yeah.
And translate it to now.
Yeah. And I feel like if I'm like, I just don't have very high confidence that I remember it very well. And I feel like people, I don't know whether they fool themselves or they just accept the fact that they accept their memories for what they are rather than seeing if that's actually what it was like.
Yeah. I think we just want to trust it because it's like what we tell ourselves what is like a stable thing. So it seems like more comforting to be like, oh, I remember. Like, because memory is like kind of a comfort thing to remember of like the identity that we tell ourselves who we are.
Yeah.
Or like where we are now in position. Like, we have like a bias to think about our past selves as worse than our present self
Yeah.
because it's a protection mechanism and we always want to feel like we're progressing. And maybe we are, but we're always evolving and growing and changing. But it's interesting to think of like that is also helpful for our mind to think that.
I feel like I'm forever plateaued though. Like I feel like I should have a good idea of the mind state or the things that I believed in the past to kind of gauge the progress that I have made. But because I don't really remember where I was, can't compare it to where I am now. And then I just forever feel like I'm in the same place as I was because I only have this moment that I've got for reference. And then like I look at time passing, I'm like, well, this much time has passed. I hope I've improved, hopefully, maybe. And there are like external tools I can use to gauge my progress.
Yeah.
But a lot of those aren't linear and you should track them over decades rather than months. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's just like, I hope so.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah, but I also feel like nothing is like superior, like really. Like I think that 2 months ago I was learning lessons that I needed to know now. Like everything's like a season and a journey, and that like nothing's ever bad. Like you're not ever in a space that's bad, and that you need times where you have like conflict and you need to have like it's just like it's not just an upward trajectory like life. Like I think roller coasters is needed. I think so. No, scratch that. It's like there is going towards your like self-actualized or like the person that you want to be, and you have that goal which you'll never fully attain because it's always changing. As you get closer and closer to it, it gets further and further away because it's getting better and better and better. But I think we go through cycles that seem like, oh, I'm in a worse place than I was. But really, I've come at it with that prior knowledge and the knowledge I'm at now. And in a few months, I'm going to be at a different space with more knowledge and more experience and more trial and error. And so we are constantly moving towards that goal. Well, I feel like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just never know if I am. And it is helpful, like, to look back at the content that I used to make, even like a week ago, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. Like, you can see through it in a different way. Yeah, but I don't know if I'm ever ahead of where I was. I guess because you can never really know.
Yeah, I think it's impossible.
Because it's kind of immeasurable.
Yeah. And you're only judging it against yourself.
Yeah.
Which is forever changing and infinite. And everything that you do have identified about yourself is a lot of it's illusion. And
it's impossible to be objective.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just got to do the best you can in the moment with the tools that you have now.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like that present moment coming back to now.
But man, you can trick yourself with that as well.
Why?
Well, am I really doing my best? Because you can always do more.
I think you do enough, or for me it's like a fulfillment until I get some sort of fulfillment or release or like relax. I'm like,
Yeah, but I don't know if that's being present. That's like chasing
I don't
something.
think that's what presence is. But when you're saying, am I doing enough? Well, really, you don't have to be doing anything. Like, you are fine as you are. And if you have goals to achieve something, then you can work to achieve them. But you're always okay as you are.
I think the main measure of okayness is how useful I am to people, like how valuable I am to someone. And I don't know if that's changing very much.
You were useful when I met you, and you were useful now.
Yeah, but I don't know, like...
You've acquired new skills.
And is my pursuit of that real?
What do you mean?
Like, what is the real intention behind trying to be of service? Like, is that what I'm really trying to do, or is that just what I'm brainwashing myself to think that I'm virtuous, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think we're all inherently quite selfish, naturally, as a human animal. But it's consciousness and awareness that we need to go towards to reach the next level of life, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean?
No.
Like as humanity,
Yeah.
we need to mature past just the human animal. Does that make sense?
Like evolutionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least understand it and not have the human animal control us. That consciousness. Because I feel like we're slaves to our instincts rather than using our instincts to drive greater whatever.
I think a big part of it is like coming to realize that the mind can play like so many tricks and that you can be stuck within it, and mind isn't, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, I think really it's kind of about learning that we're not slaves to our minds and that we have freedom to decide our own fate, and that the pressures and routines and the things that we want to do are all just like created, are all just created, right? So it's trying to use awareness to go, okay, are these the things that I truly want, or are they just coming out of fear, or are they coming out of like my conditioning or what people have told me I need to do to be worthy or to be like a valuable human or something. It's like getting past that mind state and realizing like there's a level beyond that. And I think I think once a human can unlock that and realize that they don't have to follow every thought that they
Impulse,
have, and they can just see a thought and instead of acting upon it, or an emotion, see an emotion and instead of acting upon it or reacting to body sensations, like that is when we have like true freedom and can create the path and decide whether we want to do things on our own accord or whether we're doing them to fulfill a mind need.
Yeah. Bless your soul.
Bless your soul. We're going to be having a new studio soon, on another note.
We are.
And we were planning and envisioning the new space and how we can create it so it's a comfortable, efficient, easy to record. I mean, like, so if everything's set up and there, we can just go, okay, hit record. And I really want it to be a space that feels relaxed and comfy, cozy for us, cozy for the audience. Just creating a space that the conversations feel,
How's the book going?
it's good. It's interesting. It talks a lot about self-reliance, and so I'm reading the next one. It's called The Courage to Be Happy. So it's the one after The Courage to Be Disliked. And yeah, it's like the dialogue between a philosopher and a youth, but it's non-fiction. Well, it's actually kind of, I don't know. Like, it's done in a dialogue way, but then it's information through, like, Adler. Like, the philosopher uses teachings and the philosophy of Adler, mostly, and touches upon a couple of others, but really Adler's the core of it. And this book, a lot of it is the focus around education and how, like, so the youth in the story is basically like, he's like he's a teacher. He teaches at a primary school, and he's trying to understand how to implant the teachings of Adler into like his workplace. And he's having trouble because the students won't like listen to him. And basically the philosopher is saying that he's using like reward and punishment, whereas that doesn't teach self-reliance to the children, and that he should be teaching them respect and like he should be teaching them self-reliance, and that he should be enacting and teaching them as like a friend almost, and giving them the respect of like they're their own individual and they know best, and give them a bit of like, they can make the decision for themselves of whether something's right or wrong, and not to reward behaviour because he thinks it's good, but make the kids self-govern themselves basically and decide whether they should think it's good or not. Like internal validation rather than external validation. And that the education system should be using that instead. And that he should just do the best he can, and that obviously all of it, because the kids will go home and they have their parents, but when the kids rock up to his classroom, he should enact like he should be a friend and an educator that doesn't place like his own things of what's right or wrong on top of of the kids. Obviously within reason. If something's like dangerous, then like he can stop danger from happening, but really pronouncing the fact that like the kid has the awareness to understand whether something is good or bad, and to like go about that in explaining that with friendship and respect, not undermining. So I think that's been good. Been enjoying it. What's the book that you're reading at the moment?
Well, I kind of took a detour. I started The Art of Seduction, and then about 200 pages in, I went and read Hidden Potential. So I've finished that, and now I've started again on Art of Seduction.
What was Hidden Potential?
It was how to like unlock your potential, essentially.
Who's it by?
Adam Grant. It was okay. It was pretty good. A lot about how you learn, and like it's not about rewarding where you're at, but it's more important to reward the progress that you've made to get there. And the ability to overcome adversity is more valuable than just being good at something by itself. Like the person who is willing to fail is going to go further than someone who's talented. And I mean, I think at this point, a lot of that is pretty common knowledge to a lot of people.
It's good to have it like reaffirmed
Yeah.
and said in a different way. Like I feel like a lot of books will say similar things but just phrase it or come at it from a different direction, which can be helpful in like more deeply implementing the information into your head, because you can see it through like multiple lenses and viewpoints, vantage points almost.
There was a good part in there about using deliberate play to learn faster, like making it fun and making games out of it. You'll want to, like, you make learning fun rather than what school does,
Yeah.
And, the person who has the better attitude towards learning is going to have more success, whatever that means for them.
So how would you create a play within your work?
Well, it depends what you did. It would,
So what would you do for you?
I mean, for learning an instrument, you could, you just make little games out of it. Like, if you practice for 5 minutes, how many correct notes can you hit? And then try and beat that the next time. Or
does it have to be even structured? Does it just have, like, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go through and hear all the different sounds of a string and then, like, just make something out of just strings and all the different sounds of strings? Like,
that's more experimentation.
Isn't that play?
It is play, but deliberate play is a type of play that is catered towards a specific skill. So, like, you want to get better at shooting 3-pointers.
Yeah.
So you make a game like try and score 21 points in under a minute in basketball would be an example. Like, you make a game out of it, and then you're no longer just standing at the 3-point line and throwing it and trying to shoot it for hours on end, because it'll make it more exciting, and it's kind of the premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just flipping it on its head.
Yeah, coming at it with a different attitude, as you said.
Yeah.
which I think is so important. It's in, like, life can be fully reversed through, like, attitude, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why keeping things fresh all the time is really important. Like, not working too long on a single task. Because you can get bored of it pretty quickly, and then the quality goes down dramatically after the point of disinterest.
Yeah.
Especially when you're learning. Like, there's been a lot of research done about learning, having short, concentrated sort of spurts,
Yeah.
separated by small gaps.
Yeah.
And you can kind of interlace two different activities with each other. So you do activity A for a short period of time, and then your break is doing the other one, kind of, and then you come back and forth. And you're keeping it both fresh, but you're also being efficient.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's keeping it novel for your mind as well. But just keeping things new.
Yeah. We get taught in uni that 20 minutes is, like, the best framework for keeping it fresh. But then Huberman reckons that 90-minute spouts of, like, hard concentration is best.
Yeah. So you could do multiple 20-minute sessions within there. Well, it just depends. Like, some people struggle to focus at all, and so they would need shorter sessions, but
Yeah.
eventually you can build up. And
Yeah, he did say it was like a build up, but then it's interesting that we were told 20 minutes, like, in psychology, and then all of our lecture, like, everything's not 20 minutes.
Well,
you
it
know,
also
like, for
depends.
study, like, you can do that, but yeah.
yeah, it also depends like what type of work it is. Like, if you're creating,
Yeah,
I feel like you can have longer,
you need longer
more
to get into
intense.
it.
And then if you're memorizing or like intense problem solving, you can't do
Yeah.
that for very long at a time.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was interesting. And it also kind of made me realize that, like, the structures and the systems that you build, he calls it scaffolding in the book, but the stepping stones that you kind of put in place for yourself in order to learn this skill, and you kind of break it down in a way that's manageable. And I kind of realized that I'm not a talented musician. Like, I didn't grow up in a family of musicians. I can't sing very well. And, like, I didn't start until I was over 20 years old. And if you just look at that on paper, it's probably not a very good chance that you're going to reach a significant level of success. But I think I'm very good at building systems to break things down and to get myself to do things and approach it in a way that most people don't really think about. Like, a big thing in, I guess, just creative things in general is like burnout or creative block.
yeah,
And I haven't hit that once. Like, there's times where I don't like what I'm making, but it's not creative block because,
How long have you been doing music for? How many years?
I mean, I started in 2020, but I really haven't dedicated, like, taken it seriously until like 478 days ago. So, yeah, it's just about understanding psychology, business, like just a bunch of different facets of life, and then how they all intertwine, and how a successful businessman operates, a successful artist operates, and bringing that all together.
Just life skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can make anybody successful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you learn from a greater variety of people, you can have more tools to use
yeah.
to build systems for your own life. Yeah.
And give the time for yourself to have flexibility within those and try new systems and see what works, because if you're too, like, stuck on one route, then it's harder to improve because you're never going to switch systems. It's like people that are still doing POS or through paper because, like, it's what they know.
Yeah.
It's if you just invested a little bit of time to learn the thing that's going to make your life easier,
Yeah.
like, the payoff is so great.
Yeah. It's like painting, but you only have one brush. Like, you can do the finer details,
Yeah,
or you can do the big broad strokes,
yeah,
but it's harder and longer. Yeah. that if you just stepped back to develop the systems, learn skills, and acquire the new brushes to where you can be more effective at your craft. And then it's more fun because you're
got
not
more
repeatedly
tools.
slamming your head against the wall trying to get something out, you know? Yeah. Like I have the book that I'm writing, I have content, I have music, and I have phase one. And if I don't feel like...
other work.
Oh, yeah, but I don't really count that. And the podcast. But anyway,
Yeah.
like all these different things, like I can always do something. And if I don't feel like doing this, maybe I can feel like doing that and that and that. So
Yeah.
I've just built, I have enough variety that I always can get myself to do something,
Yeah.
but it's not so spread out that I'm never going to make
Translate.
progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything translates.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all sort of moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn new skills, growing, broadening the horizons.
Yeah. Do you think you'll write a book?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know if you want to, or you don't know what to write about?
Don't know if I want to. Don't know what I'd write about. Don't know if it's something that I care to do. I'm not sure. Not sure yet.
Have you ever considered it before?
Yeah. When I was sick, I started writing one.
Oh, do you still have it somewhere?
But my life. Yeah, somewhere. Yes. I started reading it out to you. You obviously don't remember.
I think I do now that you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't remember where it is. I think it's in the depths. Oh, yeah. It's on my, like, old hard drive. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like what I have to say can be conveyed in different ways, like the podcast. Like there's other modes as well that I'm not sure if I'm like really called to write as well. But also I've had spurts of like writing poetry too, and I still every now and again, if I have like a line that comes to me, I like write it down.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe like a series of like poetry, like short poems or something. Not sure.
It's kind of shocked me what writing a book specifically is like, because I write songs and the amount of detail and depth you can go to, like you can go right to the bottom if you want to. And you kind of realize like you could write the book forever and it could never be finished. And I've also realized like for me it's pretty much like just a journaling thing, but I'm putting down what I think, how I understand concepts, and then structuring that and fully understanding what I think about the world and how it brings so much clarity about like just life in general in a broader sense. And it's given me a lot of like confidence in like the general direction that I'm facing. Because when you can kind of clarify and you begin to write the book, you're having fun, you're writing, you know, here and there, all these different topics. And then eventually over months, they start coming together, all of them. And it's good because, I don't know, it's kind of validating. Like it's a comprehensive picture. Like it all makes sense. And when it's all in your head or you don't really put it out like that and get into the detail
It's not all
and focus on one project,
yeah.
you don't really get that kind of clarity and cohesiveness.
Yeah, and comprehension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it highlights areas that you thought you kind of knew more about than you did. And yeah, I don't know. It's like a straight up reflection of what you do know, what you don't know, and where you should put more time into thinking
Yeah.
about and like,
Especially if it's what you value. Like if you want to write something on it and then you go, wait, like actually what do I know? And like if you keep going deeper and deeper and you go, okay, well it's something that I still do really wish that I had knowledge on. And then you
Yeah.
can go deeper on that.
yeah. And when you start to contradict yourself as well, like you've said one thing, like I believe this one thing in this area, and then you come
Yeah.
over here and you start saying the opposite thing, you're like,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then trying to link those two abstract things together that you would have never thought about and how you can all
Yeah.
have it meshed together.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I've read like a couple of the chapters and heard a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think like when I have it finished,
Yeah.
it's going to be like nothing else.
Will it ever be finished?
I think I'm starting to see the picture. Like the outlines are becoming clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember you reading me some of it when we were going to the snow. So it's been months.
Yeah, I started at September 8th
Yeah. Cool.
and it's February 1st, 2nd.
And how many pages or how many words do you do a day on it?
Well, in the beginning, I did like 250. Then I did 500 for a little while. And now I'm doing 1,000 a day.
So it's like just a huge mental dump of like what you believe.
Well, it's no longer a dump anymore because
Because now it's like outlined so you
Yeah.
can get further into the details.
Yeah. And a lot of it's like thinking and synthesizing thoughts and editing, re-editing, cohesiveness, drawing abstract ideas, creating theories, drawing diagrams. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. It's interesting.
You're a philosopher, you know.
I've got some interesting concepts in there.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I only know a couple, but I'm so excited.
I'm excited for people to read it.
I'm
yeah.
so excited to read it. Like the stuff that even then back in September, like I was like, wow, like, and it was so visual the way that you explained concepts that like I know to be true, but I don't know how to explain. And then
Yeah.
it was some cool imagery, and theories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what people think because it's quite broad. Like I try to stitch together my worldview in its entirety to the best of my ability and kind of what's at the center, my core beliefs, how everything links together and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'd be good to have people read it and then give their perspective.
Yeah. Like a conversation topic almost, like just
Yeah.
like understanding like, yeah.
Because I'm kind of in an echo chamber,
Yeah.
like when you're writing it to yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can get a fair bit of clarity. But when people will read it and then give their perspective, and oftentimes contrasting perspective, it'd challenge you to go even deeper. So it'd be interesting. I don't know if I'll have people read it when it's finished or before it's finished. I think that would be an interesting idea. Yeah. Because I feel like...
But what you were kind of saying to me is it won't be done for ages.
Yeah, I think it'll take a couple of years to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if how much of it will change within that.
It'll probably be pretty unrecognizable. The large...
Or do you reckon there'll just be more details within and more intricacies?
The way it's structured will be much different, I think. And the concepts... Like the concepts and the topics will be pretty similar. And obviously my core beliefs, unless something unforeseen happens. But just the way it's presented.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Like it'll feel very different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to take the longest time. Like once you get everything out, the editing,
structuring.
the structuring, the diagrams, and making sure like it feels complete. Yeah.
Nothing's unsaid.
Yeah. It just has clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Well, I'm excited.
Me too.
It'll be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be cool to see where you're at when that's released. The type of person you are. Where we're at.
If I do release it, who knows?
Yeah. Cool though.
Yeah. It's fun. Highly recommend. Write your own book.
Get your ideas down
Yeah.
and question and questioning your own ideas and like finding holes in your thoughts and going through all that would be great just to like have it reflected. And I feel like for me, I kind of do that journaling. Like
Yeah.
that is what my journaling process a lot
Yeah.
of the time is. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. It's just more of a focused project. So you can get a more cohesive
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's definitely a journey in self-exploration. Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So you're going to do it?
I don't know.
I haven't sold
I don't know. Sounds cool though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't... You can write a book in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be like every other book is written.
Yeah.
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 Because it is art as well. Writing.
Creating. Synthesizing. Understanding. Evolving. Growing. Questioning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we should wrap it up.
You getting hungry?
Getting hungry?
Hey! And cut. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys.
I mean, I hope this was valuable. We just
Yeah.
kind of rambled, but
Yeah.
I think there'll be some nuggets in there.
Yeah.
Let us know as well, because we've gone from one end to the spectrum of like prepare,
Yeah.
have concepts, read studies. I mean, you have obviously. To we're completely winging it, just talking about whatever. Because we've been talking a lot about like what direction we want to take it in, what the brand is, what we want to talk about, what we're interested in, and what kind of people we want to
Align with and like resonate
bring
with.
together.
Bring together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really we want to talk about deep things that are sometimes uncomfortable, but we want to do it in like a casual, authentic way.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to find like the structure that works, that is flowing. Like I think it's good to have a couple of ideas of like what we're going to talk about, but I think I want the questions to come authentically, not to be scripted at the start.
Yeah.
Not to be like, okay, we're going to do this, then this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to let go of a structure a bit.
I think it's important when we're first beginning, especially when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But as we get better,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think guests, it's important to have some form of...
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Like when we want to know something specific from somebody,
Yeah.
having like a bit of a structure and
Points to hit.
yeah, because when we do have guests, we have like I create the questions and then I send it to them, and then I say, okay, these are the kind of questions and the things that we want to talk about. Is that like good with you? And then we do the episode and I have the questions in the background that I can get to if we need to, but we just prioritize having a good natural conversation flow, but we've both been primed with some ideas of what we're going to be talking about, so then it can lead into it naturally rather than just going 1, 2, 3, 4. Which I think has been good. So yeah, but also would love some feedback in how it's translating to you guys and what you think.
Any
well.
suggestions?
Any suggestions as always.
Mainly just
So
roast
good.
us. Like, if you just tell us it's good, like we appreciate that.
But it's not helpful.
Yeah, tell us how we suck.
Tell us like what to improve, because we want to improve this platform and
just as people in general.
Yeah, resonate more, want it to be more enjoyable for you, and anything that you think, oh, I wish they just did this one thing, or this would be so much, this would be such a great addition by doing this, or anything like that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah.
It could be anything.
Could be anything.
Anything that comes to mind. Questions, topics, ideas. We just want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Dope. Well, thanks for listening if you made it this far.
Much.
And for those people who gave us 5-star reviews on Spotify, we love you.
Thank you very much.
How many have we got? Like 6 or something?
I'm not sure. But I appreciate it. That. I appreciate every single one, and I appreciate the ones that didn't as well.
Just a little bit less. Have a guess how many we have.
5?
We have 7.
7.
How freaking good, bro.
So good. Amazing.
You guys,
I appreciate
you guys are crazy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Another thing is the YouTube channel is also a great way to watch or listen to this conversation if you prefer a bit of
visual action.
Yeah. So if you didn't know that was the thing, check it out. Check out In Your Mind on YouTube. if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let you go now.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Take it easy and peace.
Peace.